Do you remember Johnny Somali? Johnny Somali was this guy who tormented the internet for about 4 months last year as he toured around Thailand and Japan wreaking havoc. He was the poster child for cancerous live streamer on Kick, okay? This guy was absolutely unbearable to watch. He had the most punchable face and the most punchable attitude on the internet. If you disagree with that, you're objectively wrong. Now, Johnny Somali has returned. He has recently been released from Japanese jail, where he has spent the last 4 or 5 months. I think he was jailed back in October because he was being a public nuisance, to put it lightly, and he ended up getting hit with a couple of, I think, dumb charges, like things that if you were arrested for it in North America, it would be ridiculous to think that you served or spent any time in jail. That's a cultural difference that, you know, you can't knock a culture for having just different values than what we have here in North America. But regardless of how you feel about it, Johnny was arrested. He was in jail for about 4 months, and he recently was released, and he's returned back home, or at the very least, he's returned to making content. I don't know where he's located out of right now, but he is back in his house, and he is making content again. And when he came back, he ended up doing an interview with this guy named Moises B, the real Moises B on Kick. I'm not 100% sure how to say his name, but we are going to watch him. We're going to watch his interview and just break down some of the things that he said so that we can kind of learn to know what to expect with Johnny's return to making content online. So without further ado, let's jump right into reviewing that, starting with a couple of messages that Johnny had to the police or specific police officers that were involved in his arrest and his jail time in Japan.
The cop, like, it's really like the movies. Like, bro, the cop tries to be your friend. Like, the detective, Toyonaga Shin, fuck you, by the way.
That's one of the officers there.
That is the main investigator of the case, the detective, Toyonaga Shin. Fuck you. Suck my dick, and I hope you see this video. Because the last thing you told me was, I can't wait to see what videos you make in America. So I hope you're watching, Toyonaga, and I'm going to continue to do IRL, travel the world, and you accomplish nothing. Basically what he told me.
So there you go. He tells one of the main investigators, fuck you, you suck. And he's basically saying, I hope you're watching the content that I'm making now, because I am going to continue to make live streaming content, and he's going to continue to make content in, it sounds like America, but at other points he does say he's going to continue to travel. I also want to point out that this was about a 2-hour-long interview with Johnny Somali, so we're not going to go over everything. I just pulled out some of the more notable things that he said and did during this interview. So our next clip here, this is actually at the very beginning of the interview, and this guy is just, he's unhinged. He's kind of a weirdo, and I'm really not a fan of the content that he makes. I think he's just disrespectful, he's loud, he's obnoxious, and he really is a cancer to the live streaming community as well as the IRL live streaming community. I think people like Johnny Somali perpetuate this idea that you always need to be going crazy. You always need to be going higher and higher and do more repulsive things to have more eyeballs on you. And Johnny, he fully envelops that. He fully embraces the chaotic evil character of live streamers. So let's watch this beginning section.
What I meant is, I want to ask you some stuff that may if you still have to. What?
Bro, let's go. Talk. Whatever.
So Moises here, he's trying to be respectful. He's trying to graciously or cautiously ask Johnny about his time in Japan, about his time in jail, and Johnny just starts losing his shit because he's unhinged and he has his brain has not fully developed to the point that he's able to control his emotions and how he's feeling at any given moment. Moving on to the next clip.
So Japan literally just sent you to jail just for trespassing and stepping over the cone.
Bro, that is my whole main charge, was that trespassing, stepping over the cone. They dropped the charge, interrogate me for 23 days about this fucking situation. And they go deep. They don't just ask you about your fucking cone, about stepping over something. They want to know, who's the leader? Who's the one planning the stream? Who's the one taking initiative? Who's the one paying for hotels? Where's the money coming from? How does the device work? What is this TTS thing? They're asking me 101 questions.
So Johnny goes on to talk about his time with the police, and one thing that he points out a little bit later is that Johnny was actually being held. He was in prison or being questioned or interrogated for 20 days. He was in a Japanese jail for 20 days being questioned about his live streaming. Again, this is a cultural thing where it doesn't make a lot of sense to us in North America because people can kind of run around and do whatever they want, but Johnny was somewhere where respect is very valued, and when you are a public nuisance, people want to understand why, because they don't understand the clout chasing goblin mindset that Johnny has had infect his brain. At least what's left of his brain. In this next clip, you're going to actually hear how Johnny was not only interrogated for 20 days and held in a jail for 20 days, at the end of that 20 days, this happened.
You got out, and then almost immediately after, they got you.
Bro, they took me out. Bro, they took me out the fucking police station. I went outside in daylight, and they put cuffs back on me and walked my ass back inside.
Oh my God! All right, so it was.
So I guess the way that it works in Japan is if you get arrested, they interrogate you based off of one charge. After they finish interrogating you, they let you out, and if they have something else to ask you about, they bring you back in. So Johnny spent 20 days in jail being questioned, asked about his trespassing, and afterwards he got let outside for like 10 minutes and then was brought right back into jail for questioning about something else completely unrelated. I also want to point out, Johnny has one of the most expensive blue microphones in the world, and it still sounds like fucking ass. Just get anybody on the internet who has working ears to help you, Johnny, for the love of God. This was one of the most painful interviews I've ever listened to because your microphone keeps clipping and cutting out and you're screeching. It's really freaking annoying. So please reach out to somebody. You can reach out to me directly. I will walk you through how to make your microphone not sound like ass. Thank you very much, Johnny. In this next clip, we're also going to learn how Johnny is not actually banned from Japan like a lot of people thought. There were a lot of people who thought that because he got arrested, he was not allowed to go back. However, he is going to say that he's not going to do that because it wouldn't be smart to return to a country that has completely vilified you, which I don't blame him. That might be one of the smarter things that Johnny has ever done in his online career, is to say, you know what, I probably don't need to go back to this one specific country. I'll just make content in America pissing people off, maybe Europe, maybe other Asian countries, and he'll just continue to be a public nuisance, just not in Japan anymore.
You got no problems with any other streamers, and you are
Zero.
not banned from Japan or anything like that. So anybody who said you were Japan,
I can come
it
back.
was just
Yeah,
here,
bro,
it was false.
they're saying I'm banned for life. I can come back to Japan, bro. But will I? Is it smart for me to do that, Moises? No.
If I were you.
So Johnny says, in order to be smart, he is not going to go back to Japan. After this, he kind of addresses the negative perception of Kick. People look at Kick and they think of people like Johnny Somali. They think of people who are a pain in the ass, people who are causing problems, people who are embroiled in drama all the time. And Johnny, apparently, this is not what he wants. Now, the platform as a whole is going to be represented by the largest creators on it, or if not the largest creators, the creators that are getting the most publicity. So it is understandable that when this is happening, that Johnny is going to be the primary target. He is the person who is going to be looked at the most because he's the face of it when he's being put in the public spotlight.
That's what I'm referring to.
Bro, there's so many good small streamers that are not causing any problems, causing any issue. Don't blame an entire website because of me. That's the one thing I want to say about Kick. And I do want to apologize. I know I did bring a lot of people to Kick, but I want to apologize if I brought negative attention to the website. Because that was never my intention. I know a lot of the chatters were watching when like all the streamers were in Thailand last summer. That was dope as fuck. Like it was kind of dope having like 10 Kick streamers in one city. That was fucking dope as fuck. Everybody's just bumping into each other and making like that shit was fucking dope. It felt like high school. It felt like weird high school vibes. Like, oh, this streamer, I don't want to hang out with him because of Twitter. And
hearing that it was fucking dope, it was like high school, is one of the most viscerally unpleasant sentences I've ever heard in the English language. Listen, I had a good time in high school. I will never compare anything in my life post high school to the high school glory days. I'm almost 30 fucking years old. High school was like a decade ago. I don't need to worry about what it felt like to be in high school. I have way more fun, incredible things going on in my life. These people who end up getting a lot of popularity young after they've peaked in high school and now this is the next coolest thing to happen in their life, it is honestly saddening. I dislike that this is what people look forward to and that this is what young people kind of aspire to be. They aspire to be this really popular person online and they equate it to, it's like I've got all my friends from high school hanging out or doing cool stuff. It's cringe to me. I don't like it. Johnny, for saying this, I actually had a visceral reaction the first time I heard this. I actually gagged when I heard him say that it was dope because it reminded him of high school. All right, so in this next section, Johnny is actually going to attribute him becoming a better person to Kick. This is one of the craziest statements I've ever heard in my entire life. Let's take a look.
Yes, that all Kick changed my entire life. And it's honestly made me a better person and a better man. Like going through the situation, I know I was acting like a dumbass noises.
I feel like when you look at this situation with Johnny and how he's talking about everything that happened, how he's completely disregarding or even openly mocking the police officers that were involved in detaining him, I don't actually think he's developed. I don't actually feel like he's become a better person. I think Johnny is the same guy that he was before. He is chasing views, he's chasing fame, and he is trying to make as much money and suck as much money out of his audience as possible by doing these inflammatory live streams and creating content that is not productive to society, to say the very least. Now, like I said, this was a 2-hour-long interview, but I just pulled some of the things that I personally thought were interesting. I will link to the Kick live stream VOD if you do want to watch this, if it's interesting to you. It is pretty much 2 hours of Johnny and his shitty mic talking about his experience, talking about some other Kick streamers and stuff like that. Overall, it is interesting. I am interested to see what are we going to get from Johnny in the following days, weeks, and months. He was live today before I made this video, and he did say he's going to be doing more live streaming content. So I imagine we are going to get more degenerate, terrible human interactions very shortly from Johnny. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy my style of commentary and as close to daily uploads as possible about internet happenings and online drama, consider subscribing to the channel. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers and I would really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to drop a like while you're down there, and you can check out my store, everythingsucksupply.com. Products are actually linked directly below. You can buy some stickers, which help support me and the channel directly. And if that doesn't interest you, you can become a member to the channel. I'd appreciate that, and you will get some really cool perks for doing that. Okay, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching this one. We'll see you tomorrow or the day after or whenever I upload again next. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Love you. See you later. Bye-bye.